All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to a interesting video. This is kind of like shop talk. I'm not sure what we're going to call this, but this is something we talk all the time in the shop about weird guitar stuff, about stuff that we're not necessarily happy with or want to change, or new guitars that we're after, all these different things. And so this is kind of an interesting guitar, and it really sent us down this crazy path of what is the kind of the breaking point of a bad guitar. What is the point where you want to throw it more than you want to play it, I guess. So what do we have here, Marco?
So we have this, I think it's an Indonesian-made, Korean-made Squier Telly, and I think this has just been kind of parted out. Like, I think when I first saw this guitar, it didn't have a bridge. And didn't have a pickguard, maybe. I don't know. So it's kind of like a burgundy color. It's a Telly. It's got like a slimmer kind of neck, and there's like chunks taken out of the back here and there.
Yeah, this was like one of those guitars that kind of moved with us from when the shop was in my house way back in the day to our first shop to this shop, and I think we finally put it together after we moved into this shop, and it just had been pieces of parts, and it has been kind of that project that you're never really happy with. We first had it, the frets were sticking way out. We kind of fixed the frets, and it's a lot smoother now, and we had to buy a new bridge for it, but I cannot stand this bridge at all. It's very poorly designed. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it just it's like all the parts that it needs to function are there, but they weren't really well thought out, I think. And there's a part where one of the strings rests right on the spring, and it gives you this very lovely buzz.
You probably can hear it on our lapel mics there, but yeah. So we got to thinking about this topic. We talked about it on our podcast recently, and we're just jumping on the video here to kind of extend this topic. We'd love to get your thoughts on it, so leave some comments down below. But it's that kind of like bottom dollar price guitar. Like, everyone wants to get a good deal and save some money. We did some Harley Benton videos and talked a little bit about some of the issues that they came to us with, and we still have to fix some of those issues. And even at $100 or $200, $300, it's like, what is the breaking point of a good guitar? What's kind of your thoughts on the price point, and then kind of where you get the best value? Are you kind of like, I won't spend any less than this, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think where I'm at now in my guitar player journey, I've got like expensive taste, but I definitely think that when I just walk in and I'm casually looking at stuff, stuff at a store, there's like maybe like a $500 price point where I won't maybe pick it up unless it's $500, unless it's like a cool used deal or something like that. But I'm not afraid of some of the Squier stuff or the new Epiphone stuff. But they have stuff that sits in that price point. But I do feel like your dollar goes farther with other brands for the same price point than if you were to go with, say you have $400 to spend, if you could get a lot more in a Harley Benton as far as features than you would on like a Squier or something. Yeah, potentially, yeah. It's a lot of different guitars.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, because on one hand, I think the argument would be that we're living in the golden age of guitars, right? There's more guitars under $1,000 that are actually pretty decent guitars.
Yeah.
There's also guitars that are at $1,000 or more that maybe aren't that great. So this is kind of the struggle. Even as we look for guitars for the shop, we don't really need them to be perfect. We're just trying to make demos. We're trying to show them to the customers. But in this case, it was like we were talking about how you have to give like disclaimers. Well, this is this, and this is, if you're noise, it's not the pickups, it's this poorly designed bridge, and maybe you can kind of hold that bridge up to the camera and just, if you can see that, how poorly thought out that bridge would be.
And it's just sharp.
It's like just kind of
vibrates.
The E string comes right against that spring, and then certain pitches kind of rattle. And this is like probably a basswood body. The screws are stripped out. I mean, it's just got a lot of issues. And so it's one of those where you're like, do we keep trying to restore this thing and feel like we get like one step further, and then it's like, oh, this is still like not intonating correctly, or it's still this. And some guitars, I feel like, okay, you see them and there's potential. It's a solid guitar. We can make this thing better. We have a lot of guitars like that. We've got like a cheaper Gretsch, and we've got like an Epiphone SG and things like that, where we can make these a little bit nicer. Then there's some where I feel like we're just fighting against the guitar all the time. So if you guys have any thoughts about that, what do you do in those cases? Do you just get rid of the guitar? You mentioned kind of that price point of $500. I think that's a pretty good benchmark. I would say even down to like maybe the classic Vibes are great guitars for the money, good upgrading guitars. But then if you're that close, do you just wait and go into the 600 range or 700 range? And what is kind of that philosophy? Like, do you kind of go there too? Do you feel like you're always like, well, I've got 300, should I just get to 400? Like,
yeah.
How do you kind of approach that when you're looking for stuff?
And it's weird. I guess it's like if that's the budget, I'm more looking at maybe like pedals or ancillary things like cabling.
Guitars. Yeah.
Because the guitars that I look at are they're usually around like the $1,500, $2,000 kind of like it's. So I'm ruined now. It's like that's where we start to look, or we're like, this is what we become used to, or that's what we want.
Right.
So,
Right.
So there is kind of like a tendency to kind of like underlook at these things or whatever. But I think that when it does kind of like take away from the experience, you're kind of like, these other guitars that are in this price point feel so nice, and then you play this one and you're like, okay, this is definitely different.
Yeah, and I think somewhat is like that realization that you can't get all the way there with the cheaper guitars. Some people are like, no, I can make this play as good as my USA Fender or whatever. And sometimes you can. There's definitely, like I said, there's good quality. We had some other Squier, what were those, like the 51 or something Squier things that we had a guy bring some of those through. Yeah. Those were sweet guitars. And we've got like a Squier Bullet over there from the 80s. That's a pretty cool guitar. So it's definitely like, try before you buy if you can. It's a lot harder than it is than it used to be. I think there's more like online sales, but I guess take advantage of return programs and things like that.
Yeah.
Trying to find that. But yeah, that's kind of the debate I guess we've been having here in the shop is we've been somewhat ruined by nicer guitars, and then we want more guitars. We need a lot of different guitars to demo all the pickups, but we're struggling with how to accept some of these, and we almost sound like tone snobs or something now, but it's one of those things. Do you guys have issues with that? Do you look at that and look at certain guitars and just be like, maybe this is a dud, and you just got to move on from it? Because I think this has been more frustrating than fun, this specific guitar. So we're not necessarily here to bash on Squier, but this particular one just has a lot of issues, and if someone came in and offered me a couple bucks for it, I probably would just sell it, move on to something different, because that's kind of that point of no return. I mean, we have people come in here want to try stuff, and then if it has issues, then it takes away from the demo of the pickups, and obviously you just want to enjoy the instrument as well. So let us know what your thoughts are on that. Anything as we close here, Marco, to add?
Well, and I just think that your thoughts and like, maybe we should get rid of it, and you never know where this guitar could end up and who could end up learning on this guitar, and that they can't, maybe they can't even afford the $300 classic Vibes, and so this maybe because there's like perceived not as much value for you, maybe it's a good thing for somebody else. And I still think there's still potential in here too, but we're trying to do a very specific thing with this, and while this guitar will play the G chord and everything like that, I don't know if it would be suitable for recordings or stuff like that, but it's definitely got this punk rock kind of aesthetic, so you could play some Rage Against the Machine on it.
You could, yeah, definitely. So let us know your thoughts on that topic. I mean, it's something that we just kind of been rambling on for a little bit, and we want to just turn the camera on and see what you guys think about that. Do you have any guitars that you feel like are not quite there, and maybe what did you do to them to get them there? Obviously, we've got customers who are happy with most everything else but the sound of the pickups, and so they'll put the pickups in and kind of keep the guitar after that, which is really cool for us. But this is kind of us just being real as guitar players and trying to look at some of the stuff that we deal with, and we love messing and modding with guitars, even though it's our job. We love doing that. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to our channel. There's going to be a lot more content coming soon, and don't forget to check back to the old videos, and we'll be rocking some more stuff later this morning.
See you guys.
All right.